Welcome everyone, go ahead and grab your seats and let's get started. I am absolutely thrilled to welcome all of you to today's masterclass. In this explainer, we are going to break down the highly dramatic, deeply fascinating saga of ancient India's Vakataka Dynasty. Now, if you think historical empires are just, dry dates and dusty ruins, prepare to have your minds completely changed. This is a story literally packed with massive power vacuums, intense family betrayals, brilliant strategic marriages, and incredibly sharp female leadership. So get your notebooks ready because we are in for a seriously wild ride through ancient history.
Okay, let's just dive right into our syllabus for today. Here is our academic roadmap. Unit 1 covers the rise of the Vakatakas. Unit 2 explores a divided kingdom. Unit 3 is defying the Gupta Empire. Unit 4 breaks down the Golden Alliance. Unit 5 focuses on Queen Prabhavati's reign. And finally, Unit 6 looks at a mysterious collapse.
Unit 1, Rise the Vakatakas.
To really understand how these guys came to power, we have to picture the political map of ancient India at the time. Up in the north, the famous Gupta dynasty was rising to immense power. But down in the south, there was this massive gaping power vacuum left by the devastating downfall of the Satavahana Empire. And you know how it is, whenever a massive empire falls, new players just rush in to claim the crown. Our timeline officially kicks off in the 3rd century. This is exactly when the Vakatakas rose to power under their founding king, Vindhyashakti. Over the next few decades, they aggressively expanded their territory, and they maintained an absolute iron grip on this central region straight through until their spectacular collapse in the mid-6th century. So, where exactly does their name come from? Well, King Vindhyashakti actually started out holding a position of power under those old Satavahana rulers. When that empire totally collapsed, he didn't just pack up and fade away. He firmly established himself in the Vindhya region. And that is exactly why ancient Indian texts, like the Puranas, referred to the Vakataka dynasty as the Vindhyakas. Now, historical records also hint that Vindhyashakti was a Yavana, meaning he likely had Indo-Greek roots. But honestly, it was his son, Pravarsen, who truly became the dynasty's powerhouse. Pravarsen rapidly and aggressively expanded the kingdom by taking down heavy-hitting contemporaries like the rulers of the Saka Empire, bringing all of those vast territories firmly under Vakataka control.
Unit 2, A Divided Kingdom. Class, if history teaches us anything at all, it's that even the absolute strongest, most heavily fortified dynasties are incredibly vulnerable to inside jobs, specifically internal family disputes. You can conquer all your neighbors, sure, but surviving your own relatives? That's a completely different challenge. King Pravarsen had built this massive, thriving empire, and he fully intended for his son, Prince Gautamiputra, to just naturally ascend the throne after him. It was a solid, totally clear succession plan. But in a really tragic twist of fate, the catalyst for total chaos was ignited. Prince Gautamiputra unexpectedly passed away before his father even vacated the throne. When Pravarsen eventually died, the premature death of the intended heir sparked a massive, kingdom-shattering succession crisis. In this succession crisis, quite literally split the entire kingdom right down the middle. On one side, you have Gautamiputra's son, Rudrasena I. He claimed the throne and ruled from the capital of Purika, creating what we call the Eastern Vakataka kingdom. But he wasn't flying solo. He was heavily backed by his grandfather, a tremendously mighty Naga king who was basically one of central India's strongest rulers. Then, on the competing side, you have Gautamiputra's younger brother, Sarvasena I. He set up his own totally separate rule from Vatsagulma, which is modern-day Washim, creating the Western Vakataka kingdom. So we've got a unified empire completely fractured by family ambition.
Unit 3, Defying the Gupta Empire.
As if a brutal internal civil war wasn't enough of a headache, this fractured Vakataka empire now had to face a massive external threat looming from the north. The Guptas were expanding fast, and they were looking south. The Gupta king at the time, the formidable Samudragupta, marched his armies down, dealing a severe blow to the power and prestige of the Vakatakas. Samudragupta brutally defeated Rudrasena's Naga allies and captured a huge chunk of his territories. Honestly, it looked like game over. But here's the truly fascinating part. Despite losing his allies and a ton of land, Rudrasena I flat out refused to submit to the Gupta emperor. No way. He firmly maintained Eastern Vakatakas' independent status. This fierce, stubborn resistance actually forced a stalemate, and Samudragupta decided it was better to just avoid an all-out war with them.
Unit 4, The Golden Alliance. Following that intense defiance, Rudrasena's son, Prithvisena I, ascended the throne, and this marked a really profound shift, where smart diplomacy totally replaced outright hostility.
Let's walk through exactly how this built up, step by step. Step 1, Prithvisena proves to be a highly capable king. Instead of dragging his military into constant turf wars, he focuses entirely on strengthening his kingdom from the inside out. Step 2, up north, the new Gupta king, Chandragupta Vikramaditya, sees this stability and actively seeks an alliance to fight their mutual enemies, the Sakas. Step 3, we see the ultimate geopolitical tool deployed, a highly strategic marriage. The Gupta king marries his daughter Prabhavati to Prithvisena's son. And finally, step 4, this absolute masterstroke works flawlessly. The combined, unified forces of the Guptas and the Vakatakas completely wipe the Sakas off the map for good.
Unit 5, Queen Prabhavati's reign. So the Golden Alliance was a massive success, but tragedies struck the royal family yet again. Prithvisena's son died at a shockingly young age. In the wake of the sudden vacuum, his chief queen, Prabhavati, stepped up and dramatically took control of the entire Vakataka Empire. And wow, her leadership was nothing short of visionary. First, her father, the Gupta king, sent his trusted officers and statesmen to assist her, which naturally wove Gupta influence into her court. But Prabhavati was a total powerhouse in her own right. She aggressively expanded foreign trade routes. She established incredibly lucrative commerce, connecting Indian traders directly with Middle Eastern countries. Her economic brilliance brought a huge influx of wealth and serious international prestige to the empire.
Unit 6, a mysterious collapse.
Sadly, golden ages rarely last forever, do they? After this incredible era of wealth and female leadership, the empire experienced a really sudden, totally unexpected reunification. Here's how it went down. Queen Prabhavati eventually passed away, and later, her grandson died without leaving any heir to the throne. Because there was literally no successor in the east, the entire massive Vakataka Empire legally defaulted to Harisena, who was the king of the Western Vakataka faction. Now, Western Vakataka had traditionally been the smaller kingdom, but, and this is a huge but, they held absolute control over all the major trade routes. Thanks to the international trade Queen Prabhavati had built up, Harisena's financial condition was absolutely stellar. Practically overnight, he became the absolute ruler of a unified, massively wealthy empire. So I really want you to think about this for a second. Consider the setup here. You have a newly unified empire. You have a king who controls every major trade route in the region. He has immense, unparalleled financial backing. Who could possibly bring down the strongest and wealthiest king around? What massive, terrifying external army could pull that off? Well, the answer is absolutely no external army at all. King Harisena met a very dark, very mysterious end in a deadly plot orchestrated by his own feudatory, his own subordinates. It was a complete inside job. After his assassination, the dynasty just couldn't find a leader strong enough to hold all those pieces together. By the mid-6th century, the feudatories formally declared their independence, and the great Vakataka dynasty completely, utterly disintegrated. This spectacular collapse paved the way for brand new southern powers to rise up from the ashes. The Kalchuris of the Mahishmati Empire, the Kadambas from the Karnataka region, and the Chalukyas of the Badamani Empire. Which leaves us with this final, incredibly provocative exam question for today's lecture. How can a massively wealthy, trade-dominating empire, an empire that successfully survived massive external threats from the Guptas and the Sakas, be entirely dismantled from the inside by its own people? It's a pretty chilling reminder that in the grand sweep of history, internal betrayal is almost always deadlier than the enemy at the gates. Keep pondering that, make sure you study your notes, and thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. Class dismissed.